I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As always, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Lorraine,
Present.
Reed,
Here.
Kotrek,
Here.
Krug is present, Ketzler's in Florida, Gopel,
Here.
Tucker.
Present.
You have 6 members present.
Thanks, Bob. I'd like to also note for the record that Township Attorney Jack Belzer, our Operations Manager Tom Broker, and Fire Chief Ryan Volz are also present. Additionally, the following Township officials are also present virtually via Zoom. Our Township Engineers, Alan and Melissa Lawrence. Tom, will you detail the procedures for tonight's meeting?
Yes, to the members of the public attending tonight's meeting in person or via Zoom, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded to be shown on Public Access TV, Spectrum Channel 191. Recorded meetings are also posted on the Fenton Area Community Television YouTube channel. For those attending via Zoom, we ask that you keep your microphone muted until we reach portions of the meeting where public comment is allowed. For tonight's meeting, there are no public hearings, therefore all public comment will be taken near the end of the meeting. Meeting materials are available for download on the Township's website, fentontownship.org.
All right, thanks, Tom. All right, moving on to the first business in order is the approval of the agenda. Are there any requests to amend tonight's agenda? Hearing none, a motion is in order to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, I vote yes, Kotrek,
Yes.
Kessler's absent, Reed,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, agenda stands approved as presented. Moving on to the next business order is meeting minutes. Included in the packet are the meeting minutes from the November 21st regular meeting. Are there any corrections or requested revisions to these meeting minutes? Hearing none, the meeting minutes stand approved as presented. Moving on to expenditures. Are there any questions from the board regarding any of the invoices?
Just, I see we're paying for some of the video on the sewer. Have we got any preliminary reports back on that, or is it?
I know Lawrence has got the data. We don't have any reports back to us yet.
Nobody called up and said, holy cow, we got a problem?
They found a few areas where they had to go in and clean out some intrusions.
Okay.
It's nothing real severe,
Just one.
but
Okay.
kind of what they expected, I think.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Any other questions? Hearing none, a motion is in order to approve the expenditures totaling $571,800.25 for payment.
So moved.
Support.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Reed,
Yes.
Gopel,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Kessler's absent, Lorraine,
Yes.
I vote yes, Kotrek,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right, expenditures stand approved as presented. All right, moving on to public hearings. Tonight we have none. Reports. Are there any committee reports to be made to the board this evening? All right, hearing none. Moving on to communications, we have none this evening. Adoption of ordinances, none. Unfinished business, none. Moving on to new business. This is the proposed 2024 GIS service agreement with North Arrow Technologies, Inc. I'm sure we've reviewed our memos in the packet. Operations Manager, will you provide additional information?
Yes, North Arrow's provided a proposed agreement for 2024, which is virtually identical to the 23 agreement. As in the past, I've attempted to reach out to the few companies that offer services both in GIS and CityWorks. The one in Plymouth did not respond to my request. And the GIS Inc. that was previously located in Southfield is now apparently merged with a larger national company and no longer has an office in Michigan. So my recommendation is to continue to work with North Arrow. As I point out every year, they built our GIS from the ground up 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. And they do a great job for us, and it's a good value for what we pay.
All right, thanks, Tom. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I think they've held their rates flat for quite a long period of time. I'd have to go back and look for sure, but you know, the hourly is a reasonable rate when I look at other vendors that do this kind of thing, and I know they're not goosing us every year, so.
Well, I will lend the affirmation. Tom and I talk about it. I'm I have it on my phone. I know the board members don't. It's by a license, but I use it all the time, so.
I don't remember voting on that.
It doesn't cost us anything.
Well, where's mine then?
Have one?
I'm kidding.
Anyways,
It's gonna be a hard
it's
time.
great. So if Melissa or Alan Lawrence call me and said there's pump station this, I know exactly, I can get on my phone, know exactly where they're at, I can be there. It's great. It's, I'm glad the board made a decision 20 years ago to move on with this service. Okay, I need a motion to approve.
Let me
Oh, I'm sorry.
help Mr. Tucker out.
Okay, good.
I'd like to insert a motion that we make sure Mr. Tucker gets everything he has coming.
Oh, I would second that.
Yeah, I don't think we have a shortage of seconds here, are we?
And it's probably 5-1, so.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right. I need a motion to approve the 2024 GIS service agreement between Charter Township of Fenton and North Arrows Technologies as presented.
So moved.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Crew, will you please call the roll?
Patrick. Yes. Kessler's absent, I vote yes. Gopel. Tucker.
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Can't hear it.
Oh, okay. All right, next under new business is proposed uniform video service local franchise agreement with WOW. Operations Manager, will you explain?
Yes, we were contacted this past week by, Wild Out?
Wide Open West.
Wide Out West. Mid-Michigan LLC, but WOW for short. I know, and they have a presence throughout the country, or at least throughout the Midwest. But they are actually already, I believe, in the process of installing fiber lines throughout the area, both in the city and the township. And in order to offer video services, they have to have a franchise agreement with each local unit in which they have facilities. So the agreement itself is a standard state form. It's no longer subject to individual negotiations. The only thing we can put in is the percentages for the franchise and the PEG fees, and we're putting in the same we have for the other providers, which is 5% franchise and 2% PEG fees. PEG being public education and government for the public access channel. So competition is a good thing, and I think having another provider in the township will give our residents some additional options, and I wholeheartedly recommend that we approve it.
All right, thanks, Tom. Any questions or comments from the board?
I think I saw them advertising. I think they were in the Ohio game. They had a commercial. If I don't remember, because I'd never heard of it, and then lo and behold, Tom sends it back, and there they are. So it would make sense if they're expanding in the area, they'd be advertising the area, because within the local commercial segment that it was there. So
I like competition.
I do too.
I love competition. It's best for our residents. Yes.
Especially
If I may, so if you approve this, you should approve the motion with those numbers in it specifically stating that, because the form didn't have that, and they're being inserted. So when you approve this, you know, the state form has blanks, like Tom was saying. And so the 5%, the 2%, so whenever you make the motion to approve it, put those numbers in the motion.
Well, the version we have in front of them has it already filled in.
I understand that,
Okay.
but
Put it in the
He
motion.
wants
board
to- he
didn't
wants to
vote
say
on
the
any
word.
of
Wants to
those
put it in-
numbers.
that's
so
fine.
He wants to say the word.
It's 2% for PEG and
5%.
5%,
franchise.
yeah.
franchise. Okay.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Support.
So you made the motion with the 5% franchise fee and the 2%?
Yeah.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Crew, will you please call the roll?
Gopel.
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
Cottrell.
Yes.
I vote yes. Reed.
Yes.
Kessler's absent, motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right, moving on to the next thing under new business is pre-application approvals for the 2025 through 2027 CDBG projects. Operations Manager Broke will explain.
Yes, so we had our public needs hearing at the last board meeting, and these were the three projects that were mentioned. We did not get any suggestions from the public. So I'm proposing that we submit 3 pre-applications with the understanding that we wouldn't necessarily approve all of them when we do the final applications, but this gets them all in for pre-approval. One is the Senior Scholarship Program with Southern Lakes Parks and Rec, which would allocate $5,000 per year to pay program fees for seniors. And then 2 street improvement projects that are within our low mod area. Asphalt resurfacing of Butcher Road, and as I mentioned in the memo, blow it back up because you can't see it that small. The county's given us a preliminary estimate of about $265,000. All we would have available is about $86,000 to put toward it, but we could use that towards matching funds from the county as well, so we can take a little bit of a bite out of that. The third project is also street improvements. That's for Firestone Drive and Firestone Court. That one's a little trickier because the only way we could use it on that project realistically is if we did a special assessment district and the residents, bought into that. So, again, the county has given us a preliminary estimate of $400,000 to do that, which is actually less than I was expecting. We could allocate $86,000 toward the cost if we end up getting that done. So, my recommendation is that the board approve all 3 of these for submission of a pre-application, and then we'll be turning around probably within the next 6 weeks to approve final applications.
All right, thanks, Tom. Any questions or comments from the board?
I have a question. And I have nothing against Slipper, and I certainly have nothing against seniors. But why would we be using some of our grant money for a Slipper program that has a separate millage funding? Why wouldn't we use that all for the road? I mean, we don't have enough cost, we don't have enough to do either one of the road things that you're talking about. I'm just wondering what the logic or
It's
thought
something
process
we've done
is.
in the past, and Southern Lakes asked if we would consider doing it again. So, when push comes to shove on the final apps, if you prefer to just put it all in the roads, we can make that decision.
Well, I was just wondering what the thinking was, because
Yeah.
if I didn't notice it before, I guess I was
It's
not
a good
paying
program for
attention, but-
seniors.
And like I said, I got
It's a good
nothing against
question.
Slipper or nothing against seniors, but they do have a millage. And I don't know that,
Yeah, it's not to save money for Southern Lakes, it's to save money for the seniors. So they're not having to pay.
So they don't have to pay the portion that they pay.
oh.
So it doesn't go to
Okay.
Southern Lakes.
The light bulb goes on, I understand,
Yeah.
I understand.
So they don't have to go out of pocket to get
Yeah.
in this senior aerobics class.
Then
whatever it is.
I'm on board, yeah.
Instead of paying the
I
10.
misunderstood. Thought we were covering some of Slipper's overhead, that's, oh, yeah.
All right, any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, I need a motion to approve for pre-application submission the following community development block grant projects. Senior Scholarship Program, SLPR, Street Improvement Butcher Road, and Street Improvements Firestone Drive and Firestone Court.
So moved.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Kessler's absent, Krug votes yes. Reed,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Contra,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Gopel.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right, next under new business is resignation from Fenton Township Planning Commission. Mark Mastola, who has served on the Fenton Township Planning Commission for a total of 14 years over 2 separate time periods, has submitted his resignation to his moving out of Fenton Township. Formal board action is required to accept Mr. Mastola's resignation. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
Tom, are you gonna do the customary?
Next agenda,
Next
I'll have a
agenda.
resolution.
Resolution.
I've survived both of his terms. I'm starting to feel a little old, because I've seen both of his
14 years.
resignations. Might need that senior grant that I'm.
All right, any other questions or comments from the board? Well, you will certainly, next meeting, Tom, we will recognize Mark's dedication to the township formally. All right, he will certainly be missed. Okay, I need a motion to accept the resignation of Mark Mastola from the Fenton Township Planning Commission.
Motion with regrets.
Support.
All right, motion's been moved with regrets and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Reed,
Yes.
Gopel. Tucker,
Yes.
Kessler's absent, Lorraine.
Yes.
I vote yes. Contra.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thanks, Bob. All right, next under new business, the appointment to the Fenton Township Planning Commission. I'm sure you've all reviewed the memo and the packets, the applications. Just to give you a little background on the process, zoning administrator Deem and myself went through, Mike actually did the initial interviews, then I met with all 4 candidates for both the planning and the ZBA. All of them were exceptional and highly qualified. I just like to say, I think the township is very lucky that we have been able to find people to sit on both the planning and the ZBA that are not only qualified, but motivated. All 4 of my interviews, without exaggeration, were exceptional. They, just very motivated. So what I would say is that the ones that were chosen, all 4 of them could have been chosen. But the ones that were chosen, we have great candidates. So are there any other questions or comments from the board?
My only comment was that I was surprised Mike gave us a little preview at the ZBA, since we're gonna be losing potentially one of our members moving up to planning. And I was surprised at how many applications they actually had. And I think that's wonderful that people in the township want to get involved. So
Christine, thank you.
I think it's great.
I thought it was gonna be a process.
And you have understated it, because they were sent to me as well. There were 12.
Yeah,
Right, total, and then
Well,
they
And then
we whittled them down.
whittled it down to
4.
4, yeah.
Vince wasn't kidding.
No,
I mean, any one of those 4 would have been a spectacular find. It's hard to find one a lot of times. And we had 12 that were willing bodies and 4 that were overqualified. But I had to have Mike explain to me that Todd wasn't actually on the planning commission, because he's been to so many freaking meetings.
he's in every one of our meetings
I
here.
had to ask him, I said, why aren't you calling his name when you're getting the roll call? And he had to explain it to me, so I'm finally catching up with the agenda here, so I'd like, you could say, welcome to the planning, he's already been here.
I think he's doing it for the big dollars we
Yeah.
paid them.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, and I need to correct Christine, it's not a move up, Christine, I hate to tell you that.
Well,
All depends on how you look at it, all perception.
well, and we have a planning commission that meets twice a month, and
Yeah.
we've got,
They're busy.
we've got people that sit on that
We've got qualified
invest a
people
lot
there,
of
too.
time, that have busy careers, lawyers like yourself. I mean, we're lucky as a township, and I hope that our residents understand that and appreciate that, because we do have an amazing board that sits here, and we also have other boards that have good people on it.
And I've said it before, because in my day job, I get around and do dog and pony shows around the state. And the quality that we have here at all levels, ZBA, Planning Commission, Board, is hard to match anywhere in the state. There are, I won't slander by name, but there are some places that you guys, if you walked in and saw what happened, and their processes, and it goes farther beyond the boards too. The staff is the same way. Tom and his crew, we are really, really fortunate, and we see it as that's our frame of reference. So I'm not sure they get appreciated like they should, but I get around and I see. So I am appreciative for the volunteers like Todd and the folks on this board, and the staff. We're really well situated here. So we missed Thanksgiving, but we should be thankful for that.
Well, to lend a little more affirmation to that too, I went to, it was about 2 months ago, I went to the MTA conference for supervisors only, and probably 20% of the classes that I attended were all about how to control meetings, the fight between board members. It's just, we had fights in the room. And I came back and had these conversations with Tom, and I'd say, it's amazing to me, being on this board for 14 years, we have an amazing board. Everybody that really cares, they're not here just because to put it on the resume, they actually care. For $60, I mean, really. You almost have to really care, but anyway,
And
didn't want to bore you, but.
If I could also comment at this point in time, as I said many times, this board is so underpaid compared to any other board in the county, and you guys are way, way, way underpaid. So nobody here does this for the money, but really, you ought to get paid more. But
Let's do an audio clip of that, and we'll mail it out with the next
Yeah.
sewer bills.
All right, we're gonna move on.
Okay.
Okay, as supervisor, I'm gonna make the motion to appoint Todd Forsberg to the Fenton Township Planning Commission for the term ending May 31st, 2024.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Kessler is absent, I vote yes. Reed,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Cutrick,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Gopel. Motion passes.
All right, thanks, Bob. All right, we're gonna move on to the appointments to the Fenton Township Zoning Board of Appeals. Again, oh, yes, Todd, let's swear you in. Sorry about that, I forgot, thank you. Thanks, Tom, I appreciate it.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Michigan, to faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Planning Commissioner in and for the Charter Township of Fenton, County of Genesee, and State of Michigan according to the best of your abilities? I do. Thank you.
Welcome.
Congratulations, Todd. All right, I appreciate that, Tom. Again, we've all reviewed the memo in the packets, and again, just to reiterate, we've had amazing people, so I'm just gonna move on. Is there any other questions or comments from the board? If not, I'm gonna move on to the three. All right, I need a motion to reappoint Melissa Farney to the Fenton Township Board of Appeals, Zoning Board of Appeals for the term ending November 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Tucker,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Gopel. Kessler's absent, Reed,
Yes.
Cutrick,
Yes.
I also vote yes, motion passes.
All right, congratulations to Melissa. All right, moving on to the appointment of William Crockett. I need a motion to appoint William Crockett to the Fenton Township Zoning Board of Appeals for the term ending November 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Lorraine,
Yes.
Cutrick,
Yes.
Kessler's absent, Gopel.
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
I vote yes, Reed,
Yes.
motion passes.
Congratulations to Bill. Okay, I need a motion to appoint Madison Carlson as the alternate member of the Fenton Township Zoning Board of Appeals for the term ending November 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, if I may. So, an alternate member of the ZBA cannot be used to make a quorum for any meeting.
Yes,
And
we understand that.
Okay, so just so, I mean, it's a good idea to have the alternate go to meetings as much as possible, so they get to understand the process and it's a new person. But just so everybody's aware, in some municipalities don't appoint alternates. I mean, you're not required to do that, but just so everybody understands, it's not gonna make a quorum, it can never make a quorum.
I understand that, and I've talked to Madison about it, and
Okay.
Madison is very excited about attending all the meetings, as an alternate should, and be prepared to step in at any given time.
The advantage is that having an alternate can prevent a tie.
Absolutely, yes. Yep. All right. So was that motion moved and seconded?
Yes,
Okay, all right. No discussion, Clerk Krug, will you please call the roll?
already did.
Okay, congratulations to Madison. I'm having a heck of a night, aren't I? All right, next under new business is appointments to the Genesee County.
You know what,
We'll
I don't
lose
really
the
think you
video
called the
bits.
roll on that
What?
issue, because I interrupted you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you didn't call the roll.
You didn't call the roll on that.
Yeah,
I interrupted
I was
you.
gonna say, I,
Okay, I got
Sorry.
answers on everybody's name. Let's hope it works out well. Okay,
Uh-oh.
Kessler is absent, Gopel. I vote yes. Reed,
Yes.
Lorraine,
yes.
Cutrick,
Yes.
Tucker.
Yes.
We be done, boss.
All right.
Wait, we have more.
All right. Moving on to the next thing under new business, the appointment to the Genesee County Metropolitan Alliance. I'm sure we reviewed the GCMPC letter in the packet. Just for note purposes, 2023 appointees were trustee Catrick, he was the elected rep. Andrew Marco was the citizen rep, and I was absent, so therefore this board was so nice to make sure that I was the alternate.
Well, I was gonna point out that I cannot believe that Kessler is not here when the agenda has an appointment to the Genesee County Metropolitan Alliance
You know
on it.
what? I just thought of that.
Oh, we
I just-
know
I
that
cannot-
name.
I cannot believe.
All right,
Just,
so,
just following up on your comment, Vince.
well, I did talk to trustee, Catrick, and he has agreed to sit on, and he has been attending the meetings, and I really appreciate that.
That was before he didn't know that Kessler wasn't gonna be here.
Well, I certainly think that he should be the alternate.
He wants to be there, yeah.
He wants to be the
Yeah, of course you would.
Is there any other questions or comments from the board?
Just, I'd
Keep
say
it
they
going
moved,
to the
they
loser.
moved the meetings back from 7 to 6, so.
Right,
Is
all
that
right.
better or worse?
Any other
I
que-
wasn't necessarily in favor of it, but everyone except me voted for it, even though a bunch of people spoke against it, so.
Decided anyway.
Yeah, I felt a little guilty, like.
Kessler's
you
still a
know.
viable option for you here, Kate. He's not here to defend himself.
I've already, all right, well,
Tell you what,
I made the
John,
phone call, oh, sorry.
let's just send Kessler a text congratulating.
I like that, I like that, I like that.
Oh, my Lord. What a board. All right, so I have made the phone calls and everybody has agreed, but maybe we could entertain the fact if I was going to go ahead and stay as the alternate, but I think maybe we could put Rob in that position. I think that's a good idea.
Good position.
Yeah, he would agree to that. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, I need a motion to appoint trustee Catrick as the elected representative, Andy Marco as the citizen representative, and trustee Kessler as the alternate representative on the Genesee County Board, Metropolitan Alliance for 2024.
I'll support.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk Crew, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Gopel. Yes. I vote yes. Reed,
Yes.
Lorraine,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Tucker,
Absolutely.
and I got a call from Kessler, he votes yes. Motion passed.
That was awesome. All right, next business order is board comment. Is there anyone on the board who has additional comments or concerns? All right, we will move on to public comment on agenda or non-agenda items. I will now open up the meeting for public comment on agenda or non-agenda items. First, is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the board? Fred, anybody? Come on up, Mo. Just give us your name if you don't mind.
I practiced my statement, so I'm at 3 minutes. I cut some things out, but I'm gonna have to put something back in.
All right.
My name is Maurice Ryan, and I live at 7226 Silver Lake Road. And just so you don't have to pull me up on your GIS map, I am not a township resident. I live about a quarter mile west of the West Township line into Argentine Township, right across from Linden High School.
Okay.
And what I do want to add in, that I had crossed off, is that I'd like to echo the earlier sentiments about how impressive Fenton Township is in the way they run their business and the people that are running their business. I had the pleasure during the pandemic, when Zoom opened up, my wife and I were interested in some of the projects going on in Fenton Township. And it's just, you guys just handle your business very professionally and very positively. So from the outside looking in, thank you very much. Like I said, I live just west of Fenton Township on Silver Lake Road, and my 90-acre parcel of farmland parallels the Genesee County Road Commission, the maintenance building, and then you just go west a little bit farther, there's a white fence, and that's my farmland back there, my 80 acres. And my driveway's right at the traffic light for Linden High School. So anyway, my wife and I have owned this property since the 1980s, and I'm not here to complain about anything. The reason I'm here is because I'm looking for some guidance from the board. I've been following the Tri-County Times reporting on the Fenton Township process in authorizing the canoe kayak launch at the New Hogan Road Bridge, and I'm in full support of that. But my property is just the first, after you go through the Drain Commission and the Road Commission, I'm the first property to the west that the river runs through. And I have over half-mile frontage on the Shiawassee River. And the center of the river is basically the northern boundary line of my property. So I follow the arch of the river right there. I'm in full support of the paddling pastime, I call it. but I have some questions about the feasibility of allowing motorized craft onto the river at or going under the Hogan Road Bridge. And from my study of the Fenton Township website, which I'm very impressed with, the transparency of the information that we can get, it seems to be the purview of the Planning Commission to study and recommend the feasibility of allowing motorized vessels on the Shiawassee River. And the reason I'm here is because the township calendar shows that there are no Planning Commission meetings in December, and the next one is scheduled for January 11th. So that's why I decided to stop in here first to maybe get some guidance this evening. I'm just trying to determine the sense of urgency in making a motorized decision at that launch site. And, because I do have some long-standing, decades-long observations of the river and that stretch. And a couple of things is that river is very, I'm not trying to put a pun in here, but very fluid, depending upon what the Linden Dam has to do to keep the water in Panema and how much they let through. And sometimes that river is almost like a lake back there, and other times it barely moves in the summertime because there's just nothing coming through. So it's either extremely high or extremely low. There's very limited paddling opportunities back there. And a majority of the paddling activity is at Hogan Road, historically, has been people coming out of the river at the Hogan Road Bridge, and very few people getting on where I see them on the back of my property. So, I don't know, how I should proceed. Should I have or do I need to be concerned about it? Should I meet with Mr. Deem ahead of time, or just wait till the next Planning Commission meeting and maybe have a few more details about what I think, and because that opens up the whole downstream of the river if motorized vehicles or motorized vessels are allowed to enter the river there.
If I can, Mo, let me,
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
let me just kind of, I sit on the Plan Commission as well. We've spent a fair amount of time looking at that issue, and I can tell you what we have looked at and would consider to allow are what you would call trolling motors. And we've gone to the extent of looking at the different wattages and that sort of thing. I can further tell you that there is at least one, possibly more, members of the Planning Commission that aren't in favor of any motors at all, just because of the nature of the river. It has been cleaned up a lot. I don't know if that cleanup has got to your level or not, but between Tupper and you, I know there's been a lot of work by the different organizations, and it's much more usable, from that standpoint. I told them, to my embarrassment, that I did try taking a pontoon boat down there many years ago. I only did it once. But I understand it's a lot better. I can see the kayak traffic has just gone through the rough, which is awesome to see everybody out using the lake. But you're not going to see from that Planning Commission anything beyond a trolling motor.
Okay.
People die, people move, whatever, things could change. But that's the sentiment now. And I've frankly forgotten what the exact language looked like, but I thought we had a size cap in the ordinance, and maybe it came out because it's been up here a couple times. But right now, the sentiment isn't for anything more than trolling motors, and there are some that don't even want that.
Yeah, and it is very woody area, and I know when they clean the river, their direction is to clean wide enough to get a kayak through.
Right. And when we actually talked about just flat out prohibiting it, Mike Deem pointed out that the ordinance, while we were thinking about it, we're thinking about that exact location. It's written to cover any place in the township. We can't figure out where else it would apply, but that's the reason it was written the way it was, because it's generic, and there might be some other place where it might be appropriate. And that's why it was just giving us discretion to figure it out. But I can tell you right now, with the sitting Planning Commission and the current state of the river, you're not gonna see any more than the trolling motor.
Okay.
Let me jump in. I used to live on a small lake, and a group wanted to go motorless. And the other group wanted trolling motors. got involved with the DNR, we had a sergeant, I don't remember, it was a lady, but that's beside the point. And they come out and said, as far as the DNR is concerned, a motor is a motor. So if you wanna have a trolling motor on your kayak or a 50 horse, in their mind, a
Same
motor's
thing.
a motor.
Yeah.
So we might wanna look,
Well, what it is, the ordinance is a special use permit, so that allows us to put our own level of regulation on it. And I think to Mark's comment back in the time, once it hits the water, then it's a DNR thing.
Yep.
But whether you have the launch, yeah, I read the stuff.
Good memory.
I wasn't here, I read the stuff. I was working on my turkey day.
That was about planes, but.
Yeah.
what do you feel? Is wood motors such as trolling motors work in the area you've been familiar with?
A trolling motor, they only go in a few
You
inches.
can adjust the depth,
Yeah.
yeah.
And in certain times of the year, yes. But like I say, if it's dead summer and there's been a drought, the river's barely 6 inches deep right there. Other times, like I said, it looks like a lake back there. But from the Hogan Road Bridge going on down into Argentine Township, you've only got a quarter mile left. And, I mean, it'd be more important from Hogan Road Bridge back to the city limits probably of having that restriction.
Right.
And then maybe consulting with Argentine Township saying, hey, what do you guys think about, because they got the longest stretch of river in the entire county, and mileage wise. So, I don't know, I'm getting the drift that maybe it's best for me to come to the next planning commission meeting.
They're the decision makers,
in
they'll make a
Janu- in
recommendation to the
January,
board,
and-
you're correct, Mo.
And then I can just
Yeah.
have a few more time, a little more,
Yeah.
bit more time to think about it and,
Sure.
and,
Mhm.
I think your expertise, as I said, you've lived there since the 80s, you said. You've seen the river probably every stage it could be.
Mhm.
And let them know your concerns.
Okay. Then that's the guidance I wanted. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for coming tonight
Well,
and attending the board,
And thank you for entertaining
or
me. I
addressing the
appreciate
board.
it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else that's in attendance that would like to address the board? Fred? Well, I didn't know if you, I mean, I love it when you're here, but I just wanted to know if there's anything. Oh, gee, thanks.
Okay,
As long as I'm here though, Vince, you know the question that I had to you. And I'd be interested in the board's perception of that. We have an individual who lives behind us that has an easement that they actually own that goes out to the water next to our property. And it's been an interesting challenge over the last 10 years that we've lived here. But of recent, we came home and they had put up an orange construction fence, which is 3 feet off the back of my driveway, and as you're driving, you have to turn to get into the garage. So it's the first thing that you see, we have a very large drive as far as its width is concerned. It's the first thing that you see. It's 3 feet from the fence of my next door neighbor, who has a permanent fence constructed. And it's obvious to me, there's no construction going on here. There's no fence anywhere else on his property. But it's just an absolute eyesore when you drive into our driveway.
I did address that with you, Fred, because you'd called me on it.
Right.
And went out, took pictures, and brought it back, talked to Mike. And since it is a temporary fence, it's a snow fence. It's an orange snow fence, so I don't know if he's trying to prevent. I went out and looked at it. I don't, Fred, I can't tell you why it's there, but under the current ordinances that we have, there's nothing we can do. It's a temporary fence, it's see-through. If it was a solid fence, we could do something about it, but under what we currently have, there's nothing we can do. We can't even ask him to remove it. The only thing we could ask him to do is to pull a permit. And he would have to come in here and pay $75, and because he has not pulled a permit to do that, just for full disclosure.
I just found it interesting from the standpoint, you and I didn't talk after I received the text from you. I find it interesting that somebody can do that, that's an absolute eyesore there, but it serves no purpose. Snow fence to keep snow off of what, 2 feet behind it?
That's what it is, though, it's a snow fence. They're up, if you go up Hill Road, or if you get off the expressway on Hill Road and you go down big farmland, they use it all the time to prevent, snow going into the road.
Yeah, it's 3 feet between his fence and my next door neighbor. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
So if it's 3 feet, is he using that for like something to get a snowmobile down or something like that to, I don't know, Fred, have you asked him? Or the resident?
He uses to answer a phone call on his cell phone.
I don't know if the board's got any other,
I don't know if there's any.
Well, if I could,
Does it
Mr.
go-
Supervisor, it's really inappropriate for the board to address those kind of things, when that should be
Yeah.
dealt with.
I was being
Through the-
nice to Fred.
Well, I know, I like Fred too, but really, because the board really doesn't have a say-so in that. I mean, that is your code enforcement provisions, and Mr. Shaw or Mike or somebody needs to address that, but really, the board doesn't have an input into that, other than any other citizen in the township.
I just said that in a nice way,
No, I know, but,
not a legal way.
yeah.
All right, anybody else?
That's all.
Is there anybody else attending tonight that would like to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items? Hearing none, we will move on to Zoom. We only have one person, or is that 3? No, that's just, he's on mute. P. McKeown, I don't want to butcher your last name. McKeon?
That's Don, isn't it?
Oh,
Well, it says P, but Don usually.
all right. Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to address the board?
You
If
gotta
so,
unmute.
just unmute. If not, all right.
This is Don's brother, Paul, though.
Oh. That would explain the P.
All right, it is now 7:13 PM. If there's nothing else, I say good night and the meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good job.